Hey everyone, how you doing? I am 46 years old and I am building my first video game. Never made a game before in my life, and here's where I'm at after about a week and a half in Godot. First, I wanted to share kind of like a little bit of my journey where I got to this point. I feel super old. I probably am super old, and I I've been questioning a lot kind of where my life headed and where I ended up. And I ended up just kind of doing the whole corporate thing, been in and out of different companies, and I never really felt like I was following my passion or doing what I loved. And something happened when I was a lot younger where I listened to the voices of other people who, when I would mention something like, I love video games. I want to make video games. I remember specifically there was an instance when I was probably about, I don't know, 17, 18 years old and trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. And I told a friend of mine, I was like, I want to design video games and kind of get into that whole world. And he had a million reasons why I shouldn't be doing that. And at the time, they all sounded very plausible. I was like, oh yeah, yeah, that sounds like a lot of work. Oh yeah, that sounds like an industry that I don't want to be a part of. It sounds like it might end up failing at some point, and maybe I won't be good at it. And I started kind of playing those tapes in my head and decided early on that it wasn't going to be the thing for me because I had already killed the idea in my mind before I actually experienced it. Well, I still don't know if it's going to work out. I've actually been trying a bunch of different things, a lot of different passions, and I've probably gone through about 8 or 9 different passions. And I even tried starting a YouTube channel based on some of my religious studies background, and did that for about 3 months and realized I don't want to do YouTube. So it's kind of funny that I'm back here. The only reason I'm back here actually is because I was researching, what do indie game developers do? And one of the things that a lot of indie game developers do is they start YouTube channels, not necessarily to, become famous or anything, but really just to kind of track the development and engage with their community. So I was like, well, if that's what people are doing, then I probably should jump on board with that and give it a shot. So anyway, here I am. Enough about that. That's kind of a little bit about my journey, how I got to this point. But I wanted to share a little bit about my current progress. Now, keep in mind, I don't have any experience doing any of this. Okay, my experience with coding is I essentially learned a little bit of HTML way back in the day. I mean, we're talking like 20 years ago, very basic HTML. And I recently jumped into Python a little bit and have learned very basic Python coding as well. So the benefit in that is that Godot coding I've realized is very similar to Python. And so it's helped me to kind of grasp that a little bit more. But mostly I've been kind of looking at YouTube tutorials and whatnot, and I've been hit or miss on some of those. I do want to give a shout out to, let's see, what's the guy's name? Kaan Alpar and his tutorials. I've been doing a lot of his tutorials, and man, I don't know if it's just my learning style, but me and that dude, like, we get each other. The way he teaches and the way he does his tutorial videos has really settled in my mind quite a bit. I have used a lot of AI tools to kind of help me grasp the concepts a little bit more and debug a lot of code. So that's been helpful. But this is where I'm at. Let me just share a little bit. And this is it's going to look clunky, right? I mean, this is a complete noob, not knowing anything about what I'm doing. But this is where I've landed. I'll show you what I've got built really quickly here. So, kind of the working title for the game is something like The Second Heaven. It's going to be this mixture of like an action RPG, possibly bullet hell sort of video game. Uh, Influences that have kind of influenced this game for me are games like The Children of Morta, Vampire Survivors, that sort of genre and loop. And so here we go. This is what I've got so far. I've created quite a few different scenes here. I've got just a basic bullet scene, some enemy, a basic enemy, basic pickup, Got a little bit of the UI design going on, not much. We've got kind of the main base area. We've got a couple of player skills. Got the player built, a couple of player skills, got some scripting going. So it's very basic, very just generic at this point. I mean, we'll launch it. I'll show you what I've got, and you'll see what I mean. I mean, this is, I've got player in a base. I've got a little aiming tool here. I've got the little sanctuary area that kind of refills power. I've got health and power up here. Kind of move out into the world a little bit here. And we'll see some enemies start to spawn, kind of come in. I've got the ability to like lay mines down, very basic. I can put some turrets in here if I want to, various places. I need some enemies to actually reach the screen here, but see, my power's gone. I've got a health bar. Let's go up and find some enemies and get some of our health kind of. There we go. There's one. There we go. So yeah, just kind of random spawns that happen. So yeah, very basic structure at this point, but I think it's moving forward. And that's one of the things that has really helped me move forward, actually, is kind of creating these milestones. As I've been working with AI, kind of brainstorming, I told AI that this early on. I said, I need to show something after I work through some of this. At the end of each session, I need a new tool or a new milestone to complete where I can actually engage with it and it shows progress. Because I know this about me, that if I don't see progress and if I don't see something function and work at the end of a session, I'm gonna lose fuel. I'm not saying after every session I have to have something visual. I know I just said that, but like I worked on a few bugs, and maybe that's been the most frustrating thing. Is there have been sessions where I've been trying to work out a bug and I'm trying to work with AI to figure it out, and I'm Googling all sorts of things trying to figure out, has anybody else encountered this? And I've spent hours just trying to work out a bug. For example, I had something where whenever I would collide my player with an enemy from underneath it, I would wear that enemy kind of almost like a crown. And anywhere I would go on the map, that enemy would just stick to the player's head. So frustrating. I spent 2 hours trying to figure out why in the world this was going on. And, AI's feeding me all this information. It's looking at all the code and it's like, all the code's correct. I don't know what's going on. I think you're looking at it wrong. And I'm like, dude, I'm not looking at this wrong. I know what I'm seeing here. So then I went to Google trying to figure out, is anybody else experiencing this? And finally, I landed on a very simple fix that my 2D world was set up with a gravity setting to where the gravity setting was actually making the enemy stick to the player. And as soon as I turned that off, boom, it was fixed. And so, I mean, I didn't see any massive change in my game that day, but it was cool to kind of figure out that puzzle and work through that. So, got my little my little woohoo moment there when I figured that out. So anyway, I'm still having fun though. And that's another challenge that I need to work through. I saw in somebody's video that there's a difference between having fun making the game and having fun playing the game. And if you want your game to be successful, it has to be a game that people have fun playing, not necessarily have fun making. So I need to remind myself of that when I'm in those moments where I'm not having fun making the game, that the goal is to have a game that is fun to play. So that's where we're headed. I spent some time yesterday just trying to get the game to look a little better, look a little more appropriately sized. Added a few textures to give myself a better perspective, because I realized that just looking at some of these icons that are included with Godot that you can put in as placeholders for like your player or your enemy or something, it really wasn't giving me the scale or scope to see how the game is actually going to function. So I spent some time yesterday kind of getting the scale a little bit more dialed in. so that I can experience it more as a game and less as just a bunch of geometrical shapes on the map moving around. And I think the next goal for me is to really kind of look at the architecture of the game a little bit more. There's something that I've learned about watching videos called scope creep. And I really don't want to have a game where I just start to integrate things and add things to the game just because I feel like I don't have the full scope laid out yet. So I'm going to sit down a little bit over the next week and just try to nail down the scope of the game. I'm talking, like how many hours should it take the player to get from start to finish of the game? 25 hours, 50 hours. What size does the world need to be? How many NPCs is my player going to encounter? How many skills should the player have? And what are the unlocks going to look like? I have some of this information at very basic levels, but I've found that as I've been designing, I really need to hone that in a little bit. So I'm gonna start doing a little bit of that. And then what I'll do when I have some of that information is I will probably go in and start fine tuning some of the stuff like the power, the health. How do I get unlocks? What's the currency to get some of those unlocks? So I'm going to work out some of that. That's going to be next section. So yeah, I have a full-time job. I've got 2 kids. I have a wife. And I can, put maybe 10 hours a week toward this thing. So I don't know how quickly this is going to go. My estimate is that I probably won't have a playable prototype with a level for, I don't know, minimum maybe 3 months. So it's going to take a while. If you're still watching this, what I would love for you, if you're new to this whole game development thing, or maybe you've been doing it for a while, would love some of the feedback on your experience, a little bit of feedback on what you've seen that I've shown you. Maybe let me know what you want to see next. And I'm going to be creating some socials. I'll put them in the description. I haven't done it yet, but probably I'll jump into Discord a little bit. Don't know if I'll create a server yet, but I'll jump into some of the existing servers where, new game developers are hanging out and pop in and say hi, that sort of thing. Obviously, we have the YouTube channel here. I just want to connect with the community a little bit and support each other and encourage each other. It's a lot of fun doing this, but I know there's moments. Everything has weeds, right? Every garden has weeds. I want this to grow in my life, but got to identify the weeds, got to pull them out early. And I'm hoping that by you watching this video, giving me some tips, you can help me pull out some weeds. And as I go through the journey and encounter some of the stuff that cause frustration, maybe you'll watch this and you'll see some of that and you'll be like, oh, wow, now I know what to avoid. So anyway, thank you for watching this. I hope it was helpful to you and I hope to see you in the next one.